I've recognized that we have an opportunity and a need to ensure a clearer, stronger voice amongst our great team of MPs from Quebec and cabinet ministers from Quebec to ensure that the messages that we're hearing from and the engagement with Quebeckers is done in the strongest possible way. I continue to be a proud Quebecer, but I will be very much engaged on issues of national importance as well as issues facing various provinces. And having Pablo at my side on engaging with Quebec will be a very useful thing for us all. We recognize that the people who work in the oil sands have been providing energy and resources to Canada for many decades in a way that has created tremendous prosperity for this country. The world is looking at reducing its carbon emissions, and as we move towards a lower carbon economy, it's going to be important to lean on the kind of innovation and technology that Albertans and Saskatchewanians and people right across the country have been contributing to creating and delivering for the benefit of not just the industry and the jobs it creates, but all Canadians. We recognize we need to move towards a lower carbon economy, but we also see Alberta and Saskatchewan as an essential element in moving forward in a way that brings all Canadians along. I'm very much looking forward to having Chrystia Freeland as my Deputy Prime Minister. She is someone with whom I work very, very closely and with great success on renegotiating the North American Free Trade Agreement with the challenges of the American administration. And we know that as we move forward on issues that matter right across the country, like energy and environment and other large issues, we're going to have to engage in a strong and positive way with governments, different orders of government right across the country. And I'm very much looking forward to doing that with Chrystia by my side.
Your government in the last 4 years already alienated the West, already created many divisions between, or perceived divisions between the West and between your government and its climate initiatives. But you need to do more and go further in order to meet your targets. So how can you do that? What will you change in order to somehow find a way to get them on board while you push further ahead?
Yeah, with due respect, it is not a Western issue. The Liberal Party elected 11 members of Parliament in British Columbia and 4 members of Party in Manitoba. The issue is one that relates very much to the hydrocarbon-producing regions of this country and how we address climate change in a way that addresses their legitimate economic concerns. That is something that I think we need to be thoughtful of. We have started the process of addressing climate change in substantive ways. We've started the process of trying to think through the economics of how we actually move through this energy transition. But obviously, we need to do more. As we move towards a plan to achieve net zero emissions by 2050, we need to be thoughtful about the economic pathways. My background is energy technology and clean technology. That is certainly one very important part of that. It is an important part where I think there is much common ground with the hydrocarbon producing regions around how do we reduce emissions intensity? Are there ways to monetize the energy value of the hydrocarbons in a manner that is not carbon polluting? And those are areas where I think we can find common ground.
When it comes to the West specifically, I think what we need to do as a federal government, when it comes to the West and when it comes to all our provincial relationships, is really listen hard. With the NAFTA negotiations, what journalists tended to see was the negotiation itself and Canada talking to the US, talking to Mexico. But that was like the tip of the iceberg. 90% of the iceberg was working very, very closely with stakeholders across the country and understanding from them what they need and what they want. And I think the challenge right now in intergovernmental relations is to start by listening very, very hard, listening to Canadians. You're right to specify the West. As a government, we had a message. The election sent a message from the West to our party. And now is a moment when we need to respond to begin with by listening really, really hard and really effectively. I will continue to have responsibility for the NAFTA negotiation and broadly oversee the Canada-US relationship because that is so central when it comes to our country's place in the world. At the end of the day, though, this is really going to be about working closely with the Prime Minister and working closely with my fantastic cabinet colleagues.
I've been asked that question a number of different times. A DPA is a legitimate legal option, but I will not pronounce one way or another because there are two pieces of ongoing litigation that involve SNC on that very point. And so I won't pronounce in any way, shape, or form because I don't want to have any kind of impact on that litigation.